ladies and gentlemen, Yesenia is about to come on, and she's going to bring so much value and wisdom to you. What an incredible journey she's had coming from the Air Force, helping business owners, real estate, all kinds of really great stuff. Before we get into that, though, the sponsor message is for you. If you're an entrepreneur and a high achiever and you just want to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, I love working with you. I love amplifying your message and your impact. One of my favorite things to do. I eat, sleep, and breathe making a bigger impact in the world. So if that is someone you want to work with, you want to get your message out, start a podcast, send me an email, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and message me there. I'm happy to talk to you about what's your message, what's your mission, what is your purpose, and how can I support you in making that a reality even more. So I'm also going to read and share with you the iTunes review of the week. And this week, let's see who it's by. It's by Nikisha Ware. Nikisha says, I listened to my first Chris Burns podcast, and I am blown away. He makes it so clear the power of clarity and exactly what we can do to get it. I'm excited to hear more fire. Thanks so much, Nikisha. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and find us there. Thanks so much in advance for doing that, and stay subscribed for all the latest episodes and updates and all that great stuff. So enough with that. Let's move into the main speaker for this hour, Yesenia. We're going to be talking about vision and action equals results. So make sure you stay tuned from start to finish, because you definitely want to learn how she's overcome these incredible challenges and managed to succeed and stand out from everyone else, because she is a powerhouse. So stay from start to finish, because you never know what one idea can transform the rest of your life. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, be ready to take notes. So let's introduce her. An entrepreneur at heart, Yesenia Vasquez-Rosa is CEO of Blue Coastal Homes, LLC, and Vertec Solutions. She's a business coach, a nationally certified real estate investor coach, a passionate real estate investor and developer, and a licensed realtor in Hawaii. Yesenia brings over 15 years of leadership and real estate experience, from leading 140 high-performing teams worldwide for HewlettPackard Software, to rehabbing condos and single-family homes since 2004, to new construction and development on the islands of Hawaii, California, and Tennessee. As a real estate coach, she brings years of deal analyzing and underwriting residential and commercial deals nationally. She currently coaches thousands of real estate business owners on growing and scaling their businesses, and she was born and raised in Luquillo, Puerto Rico. She came to USA at the age of 10 and a half. I see that smile. You're like, oh my gosh, that accent, that white boy. Oh my gosh. 10 and a half years old when she first realized that it was a big world after all. She joined the Air Force at the age of 20 to pursue her dream of traveling the world. Yesenia worked hand in hand with our nation's leaders as part of SAM Fox, our nation's VIP flying unit. She is a graduate of Argosy University with a master's in organizational leadership and strategic planning, and she is also a disabled veteran who proudly served 10 years in the United States Air Force. I could keep going on and on and on about this woman, and we want to get her on the camera and talk to her. Oh my gosh, Yesenia, are you ready to rock this?
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. You're now live. Thank you so much for being here on the 12-hour marathon to share your wisdom and just everything that you've experienced. You've traveled the world. You've been in the Air Force, been at the top of your class and your performance in a lot of areas. So people strive to be good in one area. You've been really successful in a lot of areas. So I'm excited to dive into this today, and really thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's dive right into the theme of the day, which is messages that stick. Yesenia, what does that mean to you? Messages that stick.
Messages that stick. I have something that I want to share with you guys, and this is if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking.
Wow.
And that was said by Buckminster Fuller. Okay. And that's basically what sticks to me, vision, action, results. That's a tool, that's a formula, or simple formula that you can live your life by just vision, action, and results. So that's my message that sticks.
That's beautiful. I
There.
love it. And it's like, okay, I'm looking at life before the tool, I'm looking at life through this chaotic, unserving, difficult, challenging, problem-inducing way, and you introduce the tool to solve the problem, to be used again and again, to lean on, to provide value, to create solutions. And it's when we're able to use that tool that we really create breakthroughs, we create new results. We have a new reality that we can live into because of that tool. And your tool that you really love using and teaching your clients and working with people on is vision plus action equals results. So before we dive into that, I want to hear a little bit more about what you're working on today. I mentioned it in the intro, but specifically, how are your clients coming to you today and how are you serving them?
How can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Yeah. How are your clients coming to you today, and how do you serve them?
My actually, my clients are very organic. Honestly, it's very organic. That's how I like to work with people. I do work for a national company also for a real estate investing coaching. So that's a different side. But my personal clients are very organic. And by speaking at small local events, by people that I've helped in their businesses, referring other clients and referrals, that's really how I like to work. It's more organic than, I guess I'm kind of old school at that.
I love it. So
that's why I'm here, right? Because I want to, so far it's been very organic, and now I have to, just like any other entrepreneur out there, I saw a video of you saying, hey, what's your brand? What are you doing? Are you trying to be like, what was it? Home Depot, was it? Costco, right? Some people don't have the money to go that big and have so much money for branding in that way, right? So now it's, getting out of my comfort zone and doing these live things where it's like, whoa, the video on my face, the way I sound. And I'm also, I live by what by what we're going to talk about. So taking action and getting out of the comfort zone is part of it.
So awesome. So is it mainly the real estate investing clients that you work with and entrepreneurs who are like really needing those basics and fundamentals in business, wanting to get to the next level? Is that the overview of the types of people that you work with?
Yeah, well, I just happen to love real estate and be in that niche. That is not the only, I guess, client out there. Well, my motto and my passion is to inspire people to follow their dreams, right? And I come across more and more people wanting to open up their business or open up a business, but they don't know how, right? So getting them from A to Z is what I focus on, and inspiring them to, get out of those old habits that you have, or those thoughts that we have, those negative pattern thoughts that we have, and we'd end up not going through life and not doing them, right? So those are the things that I look for to help people with, to inspire, get them out of the way.
Get them out of their own way. That's right.
It's not just real estate. I've helped others there's this young guy that I'm helping now that is in trying to get his own gymnastics thing out, and just helping him through the process, just coaching him and teaching him certain things, whether, it's all about the action that the individual takes, right? So, and then there's been many other entrepreneurs out there that I've helped with real estate related, building their own portfolios and things like that, not just through the national company, but also outside friends and family and things like that.
That's powerful. So it's really the people who want to live their dream. You're there as a mentor, as someone who's been there before, as a coach, to see the blind spots and the things that they're missing to help them succeed in business and living that dream. So that's really incredible. And I want to go back into the journey, Yesenia, and talk about you moved to the country, United States, at 10 and a half years old, and then went into the Air Force. Tell us what some of those lessons that you picked up along the way and what that experience was like.
So that's awesome that you asked that, because that is part of my experience, and that's how I've gotten to where I am now. Coming to the U.S., not knowing English, having to learn English, and going through school here, hustling, learning the English language and fitting in, and being experiencing things that I didn't even know existed, like racism, things like that. All of that, and then going into the military and being it's really weird, because I've always been in like a male dominant platform, right? So construction, real estate. Right now, I'm really focusing on construction, new construction. That's very male dominant,
totally,
right? But going through the experience that I went through in the military has helped me deal with those things where I'm at now. The Air Force taught me a lot of many different things. How to look at different, I traveled the world, so how to look at different countries and where they come from, why they think and do and live the way they do, and how we have it very good here.
Totally.
And it taught me perseverance. Going through, I don't know how many boot camps, how many trainings, survival school that I went through, boot camp.
Was that quick question? Was that a part of the military survival school?
For the job that I was going to be doing, yes. Not everybody goes through that. So, and I mean, just survival school alone, that was 21 days of hell. But I learned a lot about me and about my thoughts and about my weaknesses and how to come together as a team and depend and be okay to depend on others to fill you up, right? Build you up and get to the finish line. So the military, I think it, I'm glad you asked that, because I do believe it really, I guess, not trained, but kind of got me where I'm at today. Like, it's weird. It's like, I'm not afraid of doing anything.
Yeah. Well,
it's weird when I find somebody that is afraid of doing one thing. So what were you going to say?
I was going to say it instilled a paradigm in you. Like, how do you see the world? How do you operate? And like we were saying earlier, one of the best things that you do is you help people shift the things that are in their way out of their way, get out of their own way, like the mental stuff that they're dealing with. Almost everything that people are really dealing with, it's not outside. It's not the environment that is more powerful than them. It's their own mindset and things that are in their minds that are getting in their way, and the lack of clarity, lack of a vision, that's really what's stopping their ability to take action, or they're just being victims.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a great comment, because we have to look internally first. What are our thoughts? Okay. How are we thinking? Even me. I mean, I'm sure you can say, yes, me too. Even me, every day, I have to check my thoughts. I have to check how I'm thinking. What am I thinking? Did I don't know, what are my habits on my thoughts? What are my patterns? And identifying those. And once you identify them, you're able to switch, or to make not switch, but to better them, right? To think differently, which is part of the consulting that I do, which is, okay, you think this way. Let's peel the onion a little bit on why you think that way, and let's see how we can help and help you in thinking in a different manner.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so important to first be aware of what's going on, what's running the show, what fear or what limiting
Mhm.
belief or what way do you say this is the way it
Mhm.
has to be done. Organizations, I'm sure that you've worked with, like they are so typically stuck in their ways when they've gotten bigger that change is really difficult. Pivoting, evolving, and bringing in more effective and efficient structures and processes and things like that, they're really resistant to do it because people typically don't like the change.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love to change. I love to learn and grow.
Yes.
So
Yes.
having a growth, uh, what they call a growth mindset
Yeah. Yeah.
versus uh, what's the other? There's a
Fixed.
book by
Fixed.
Carl
Is it
Beck.
growth is
Fixed
fixed? Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carol S. Dweck wrote Growth Mindset. Amazing
Yes.
book. So going
Okay.
back into your experience in the military, what was it like before you went into the military, and what was it like after the military? Can you share about your difference of perspective and paradigm? One of the ways is you were willing to do basically whatever it takes. It sounds like is you're willing to do new things and go the extra mile.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I grew up very. I actually grew up poor in Puerto Rico,
Hmm.
and I came to the U.S. And then I realized when I came to the U.S. is when I realized, well, we're kind of poor. Like we're just, right? I didn't even realize that
Yeah.
until then.
Wow.
And I realized it was a big world.
Hmm.
Okay, my culture is very different from my friends growing up, which was great. I thought I was so intrigued by it, by the differences. I was intrigued by the differences.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always been intrigued by the differences, difference in cultures, religion, all that. I was very timid, and I just, I obeyed orders from mom and dad,
Hmm.
even my brother, to school, to just really going and learning and just trying to see where I was going to go. I've always been a dreamer. Okay, I've always been a visionary. I've always,
What did you dream about when you were younger?
honestly,
Yeah.
like going to space. Like I would always stay, stare at out there in the galaxy and
Yeah.
just, man, I want to go out there. What's out there?
Incredible.
Like,
Wow.
um, I always ask a lot of questions. My father, my parents have always been in the ministry, so I've always asked them all kinds of questions
Yeah.
about all of that. I don't want to get too much into that, but so I was very timid and very, um, but a dreamer,
Hmm.
right? So I wanted to do big things. I wanted to, even from back then, I wanted to empower people.
Yeah.
I always wanted to, help my friends do this, or at the church, or at first I wanted to become uh, um, a, um, a, a what do you
A
call them? A
nun?
youth pastor.
Oh, youth pastor.
A youth, right? Because I saw that they were positive and they were encouraging and they were encouraging us,
Yeah.
right? So I was intrigued by that.
Hmm.
And then as I graduated, I went into college. I was working my butt off, 3 jobs. Back then, I thought that, hey, you gotta work hard.
Hmm.
I gotta work hard, make money. That's the way,
Yeah.
right? That was my thought of thinking back then. And that's what I did. And I went to college, and then I decided, whoa, I can't keep up.
Hmm.
It's only me. And then that's, I saw an opportunity to go into the Air Force, and
Hmm.
that's what I decided to do. And I did 10 years, and they were amazing. And I met amazing people and traveled the world and learn about how the system of our country works.
Hmm.
And honestly, I'm very transparent. I learned the how to respect our flag, how to
Hmm.
respect our country.
Hmm.
That's where all that grew, right? Because we're, well, I don't know if you were, but we weren't taught that.
Right.
right? To respect the flag, respect our nation, and all that. So I learned that in the military, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think there's a reverence and, like you said, a respect that a lot of people, they just take things for granted, and it's like you said, I think you got to see behind the scenes how the United States is able to keep going and, like keep the peace and keep the order and structure. And it's like this structure of the United States and the government and our land, so to speak, is what is able to allow us to live our dreams and be the creators of our reality and start entrepreneurship and, have a dollar actually be worth something, is because there's, a process that went into it. And some of us may or may not agree with that process, but, the country's doing the best that it can. It's like nobody chooses to do worse than they can. It's doing the best that it can. So I think it's really just having that respect and paying the honor to the system that's currently working, however good or bad, and especially the people who are out there sacrificing their lives and time and energy and, like family, all those kinds of things to be able to provide that for us. I'm super grateful, and thank you for your service, Yesenia.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you mentioned 10 years. Why did you stop?
I had bigger dreams. I really did, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I wanted to do more. I've always, like I said, I've always been a dreamer even since little. It's always been in me to just empower to the masses. I don't know where that comes from. But it's really interesting because I feel like it's becoming reality.
Yeah.
Right? That thing that since little I felt of empowering to the masses, it's finally, I'm actually doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so the training in the military, I believe, really has helped me in life and in the hurdles in life. And hey, that just like blew me, 10 yards back, and it just crushed me, really punched me hard. But it's okay, I got this. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
So, I've kind of learned little tricks to just tell myself or put myself back together. It doesn't mean that I don't feel it. It doesn't mean that I don't sometimes even cry, because as an entrepreneur, hey, man, I'm going to be honest, like, as an entrepreneur, we're like this, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we're amazing, like business is amazing, money's coming in. Woo, that's awesome. Yeah. And then, like, in a blink of an eye,
seriously, it's so fast.
Right? You laugh because it's true.
It's so true.
In a blink of an eye, boom. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? I just lost how much? Oh my Lord. How do we get this back? Right? What do we do? And it's like, I think I think we'll always, until we get to a certain level, which you're probably trying to reach just as I, right? And we'll encounter those. But I think being able to maneuver that, right? Kind of like in a boxing match.
Well, also what I've noticed is when you have the right support structures, or I was reading a book, I think is the Millionaire something. Anyways, so he was talking about a wealth lighthouse, how at different levels you're able to do more. It's like Roger James Hamilton or something like that. Anyways, so he talks about there's a fail safe, and after you have something break down, some business runs out of money or the market turns or whatever, a fail stop. So it's like you don't go all the way back to in debt millions of dollars. You have a way to stop the losses and stop the bleeding and the hemorrhaging, so you don't like keep going. And I think as an entrepreneur, you start to get these systems and processes in place. So instead of, if you are juggling all these balls and clients and stuff like that, systems, processes, if you drop one, it doesn't crumble you and bring you all the way back to the beginning, but rather you drop one and then you have something in place to make sure that nothing worse happens. You stop the losses, kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's super
Exactly.
important. So
Yeah.
when did the vision plus action equals results? When did you start understanding that you need to have a clear vision and you need to be in action? When did that paradigm, that philosophy start coming to you?
Um, well, just through my trials and tribulations,
Hmm.
really, just through my personal experiences in business. You know, sometimes we think we have our vision.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we got that. But then it's like, oh wait, uh, no, I have a different vision now,
Yeah.
right? Or no, that wasn't complete, or it wasn't right at the time,
Mm.
right? You thought it was. Sorry, there we have someone ring the doorbell. Sorry about that. But for me, it was, gosh, I have so many examples of this. I mean, even like, going back to childhood.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to travel the world.
Mhm.
Okay, and I would think of me going to all these different places.
Mhm.
Okay, specifically one, Hawaii.
Mm.
Okay, and years later, okay, I'm traveling the world. I'm traveling the world while I'm in the Air Force, and then guess what? And then Yesenia gets orders to get stationed in Hawaii.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
so this is it's weird because when I look back, I'm like, wow, like, is that like, did I actually was I actually practicing visualization as a child, but I didn't really know it, yet it became a reality later on in my years.
Mm.
Okay. And when I look, I don't know, Chris, I don't know if you can pinpoint these things in your life,
Mm.
but I can pinpoint many different things in my life that I can say, yeah, at this age, I thought about this,
Mhm.
this, and this, and then later it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you have those experiences,
Yeah,
but
it's I think Steve Jobs says it's you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect them like looking backwards, and you just get to see
mhm,
what were those instances that form the patterns to understand ourselves and become more self-aware.
exactly. But only in the last, like, truly where I've truly, focused on, it has to be probably in the last, since what are we in, 2019?
Hmm.
So it goes back to 2014.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay,
what's that?
so
Almost
that's
5 years.
that's when you really started like seeing the formula and understanding, hey, if vision is in place and action is in place, then I'm getting results.
Right. Right. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't click
Mm.
until we're older,
Yep.
right? But I think that for us, that something like that has clicked, we need to share it. We need to share the world, and share and help others from young,
Yeah.
and so they're not, so we make a better world, really.
Mm.
So that's basically what I'm focusing on now, and inspiring others to, okay, let's talk about where you're at in life.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your dream, and again, let's talk about why you haven't done it yet.
Okay. So what
And
what do we?
that's when the personal stuff comes in of, oh well, I don't have the money,
Mhm.
or I don't have the time, or I'm not sure I can really do it.
Mm.
That I to me is lack of self-esteem, or
Yep.
they're scared,
Yep.
or is excuses,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just we all do it, right? We all do it.
Sometimes you just gotta hit people in the face with a 2x4 and say, "This is stopping you. Are you gonna do something about
Yeah,
it?"
yeah. So visualizing. where you want to be and where you want to go every morning, every night, even with your kids, if you have kids, even with your significant other, I think is really important. And I realized that in my life, it's been a really good, I guess, little habit, right? Which it's about our habits.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful. So as far as clarifying our vision, where do we start with having a clear vision and something? What are the elements of a clear vision? How do we know if we have a good vision or not?
Well, I think again, you got to look inside, see where am I? Where do I want to go? Where do I see my life in 10 years? Okay. A lot of people talk about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like you talk 10, 15 years. Like, where do you see yourself?
Yeah.
Right? That's a hard question for people.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that. And I'm not saying plan it, plan out. I'm not saying that. I'm saying visualize yourself. 10 years from now, what do you look like? What are you doing? Okay. And walk it in a sense kind of backwards of that vision that you got. And that's where we go, okay, well, what do we need to do to get you there? So when 10 years from now comes, that you are there, or that you surpass that.
Yeah.
Maybe you end up surpassing that within 2 or 3 years. You're like, holy smokes, what just happened? Because there's all kinds of stories out there about that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about thinking differently. Okay, thinking differently, just, I don't know how to explain it. Just changing the way we think, as far as okay, I don't think we dream big enough. That's the problem. We don't dream big enough, and if you think about 10 years, 15 years, then you're thinking out, stretching it, right? So I think that would help.
Powerful. So it's people's vision is in general missing because it's small, it's not compelling, it's not pulling them to a big future, and they typically plan in a short amount of time, so they kind of underestimate what's possible. I've also heard the quote, people underestimate or overestimate what they can do in a year and then underestimate what they can do in 10, so it's like having that 10-year gap or decade is you're able to really expand your imagination, like what is possible if you could really be and do anything. And 10 years is a long time to transform your life. You can be in a completely different space and time and reality in 10 years. What would that be like? What would the dream be like? How would you spend your days, your time? Who would you be around? And what kind of meaningful work would we be doing? And people are lacking that clarity on what's really important to them so that they live their dreams every day.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then reverse engineering it, looking back from that point 10, 15 years out, people are also missing the plan, and is that combined into the actions? Like people aren't taking the actions for that?
Yes. Focusing on small steps every day, consistently, day after day, which is all the action, like all the action items, all the action steps, whatever you want to call it, that you need to do to make all of that a reality. Some people think, I believe that our reality is now.
Yes.
Right now, this very nanosecond, right?
Yep.
And we make our reality. So if we don't visualize and we don't take action, then how does our reality, that whatever you're dreaming of, how does it come true? Okay. There's people out there that, I don't have time. I have to go work because I have to feed 5 kids, and I only get paid, I don't know, $60K a year, right? But and I've had people get very upset with me because I've said this. But what about the rest of the time when you're not at work?
That's right.
What happens after that? Okay, and family is important. I strongly believe that you need to set at least an hour and a half for family.
Yep.
But I think you have to treat that as, as any other meeting out there that you have. Okay, I'm not saying ignore your kids, your wife, or whatever. Give them at least, I don't know, hour and a half to 2 hours a day. If you're out working, you get up early, you gotta go work, you gotta go in traffic, you gotta come back, you gotta eat, okay? Spend quality time, and then maybe, I don't know, from 9 to 11, you work on those daily things that you have to work.
Well, also, I think people are not taking for granted, but not utilizing their time in those even the things that they don't recognize are opportunity moments. Driving to work, for example, you can be making calls, you can be expanding your network, you can be talking to your family. If maybe you don't see your family before they wake up, and you got to be off to work, and you're driving when they actually wake up, so maybe you call them and have a video chat with your kids or something while you're driving to work. Maybe that's what works best for you. Obviously, we want to be in person as much of the time, because that's like the real connection. And figure out what's going to work for your schedule. Are you listening to audiobooks and learning while you're driving? Or are you listening to radio? Are you listening to pop culture? Are you listening to things and doing things that really don't move the needle forward? I love what you said. It's like really taking inventory of your time. Become 100% aware of where those missed moments that add up to missed minutes, that add up to missed hours and missed weeks and years. People are like, where did that year go? That went by fast. Like, I didn't feel like I got anything done. Well, probably because you weren't aware of how you were investing your time and your energy. So it's super important to do that.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And there's all kinds of things that you can use out there. Track your time from when you wake up till you go to bed. Okay. Know what your habits are. You got to first know what those habits are.
Yep.
Okay. And health is really important too. You got to figure out how to get some type of good health in there, right? Also, in between, while you're on the phone, you can go walk up and down the hallway. I don't know, do 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups on top of every hour. I don't know, but yeah, it's really looking internally. Where am I at? What am I doing that I can improve on, right? To be better. Or to get myself where I want to be, because you may be working on just being better you, right? Which is what we're talking about, becoming your better self, right? But as far as business, it's about visualizing, taking action, and which will get you the results that you want in business. Okay. So
I also want to pause on this, because this is gold for anyone tuning in, watching, listening, wherever you're at, however you're experiencing this right now. If you have not taken an inventory of your habits and of your time, like literally, if that's the only thing that you get from this interview, like it will make such a difference in your awareness of who you are and how your time and energy is being spent and prioritized. Because you can tell so much about people by how they prioritize their time and their energy, right? Like I live and die by my calendar, Yesenia. I'm sure you're the same way. When you have something that's in your calendar, it gets done. For me, if it's like not in my calendar, it's far less likely to get done, because like it's not on my radar, it's not in my flow, it's not in my daily, like it's like a GPS to know where you are physically on the earth, but a time GPS to know where you are chronologically. Okay, where am I? Okay, I'm right here. I'm supposed to be making these calls. Where am I? Okay, I'm supposed to be spending time with my kids, right? It's like you get to check in with that calendar, and that's your master. But you first have to start with the vision, because if you don't have the vision and if you haven't broken it down into bite-sized steps, how are you supposed to know if you're on track or off track? So I think that having the vision is super critical. I think a lot of people who tune into the show, they have a general idea of what they want and where they want to go. They might not be super specific and have a clear plan with measurable milestones and actions. Get that first. That's number one. That's going to pull you forward when you don't feel like doing it. It's going to get your butt out of bed and get you to go serve people and deliver your gifts and your purpose. When you have that, if you're finding that you're not delivering on that as much as you would like to, start to look at where's the time going? Where is it escaping? Where is it slipping through my fingers and I'm not getting the most out of it? Because that's going to really make the difference.
Right, exactly. Most definitely on point. I mean, track them.
Track them.
Track yourself.
It's self-awareness. And one thing you do that I hear is in your language is important is being curious and being self-aware, right? The intrigue that you mentioned earlier is being curious and being intrigued, being fascinated, being interested. A lot of people just aren't even interested in these aspects and elements of life. And it's the whole life, that picture that we have to look at. You're talking about space. What's it like out in space? It's like, people who are just so about TV and the basic stuff, they're probably not thinking too much about space because they're thinking about basic stuff. But you and I and a lot of people who tune into the show, we're like, what is all this? What is the meaning of life? Like, why are we here?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought like that. Always. Sometimes it's like, gosh, stop thinking. Just stop it. But yeah, I mean, I want to say again that everything about you, everything about me, everything about us, it's made out of two main things, right? What our beliefs are and how we live it and how we, our systems of living, our habits, right? So even though you said a few seconds ago, even though people don't like to spend time on that, that's really where we need to spend the time, because that's how we're going to become a better person and an individual. That's how we're going to be a better, get growth, and whether we want to be entrepreneur or just grow in the job that we're or if we want to lose weight, right? Or something like that. It's all about our habits, and that's why it's important to really know what are you doing? What are you doing to get to that visualization that you have for 10 years from now, that you want to have this big empire and you want to live, in, I don't know, Hawaii, with a nice big house. But okay, that's great. But how do we get you there? What do we have to fix, or not fix, but what do we have to tweak when it comes to what we're doing every day to get there? Even for me, I'm telling you, because this is what I go through. I know you gotta go through this too, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, it's the self-awareness and seeing how to course correct. Do you have any specific questions or process that you go through on a daily or weekly basis to know are you on track with your vision? Are you taking the right actions? Are you achieving your results that you want?
So right now, internally and at home and with, my partner, we're trying to really focus on vision, on, like, I guess, being experts in visualization and gratefulness and gratitude.
Yep.
Okay. And some meditation also. For some people out there, that could be prayer. Okay. Same in my world is kind of the same, right? But really, in the morning, going through at least 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, visualizing my day, visualizing what I'm going to be doing, what we're going to be doing. We have uh, we have talks together of, okay, my day's going to be beautiful because of this and this and this and this and this and this and this, because all of this, and we're going to come together in the evening and we're going to be doing this and this and this, and boom, Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to go like that, but at least we put it out there.
Yeah.
And we, each day we're getting closer to whatever, to that goal of where we want to be. And that's just part of just being a whole rounded person, in my own opinion. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, it's about really knowing and delivering what you need to deliver on a daily basis, and knowing, like, our schedule, what we need to do. How are we connecting with the people that we're working with? And that's something that I'm personally working on, as far as always growing that connection with my clients, with my vendors, with business relationships. Yeah. Right? That's, for me, it's all about my relationships. Remember, because in the beginning I said it's very organic. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you don't build a business organically if you're not able to build really good relationships. Right. And I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that, for the business relationships that I've made throughout the years that has gotten me to where I am now. And just peeling down on my own self. Okay, what do I have to fix? Mm-hmm. I shouldn't talk to that guy over there like that yesterday because my Puerto Rican came out. That happens, right? Yep. It happens. Yep. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. How do you build successful relationships? Let's say someone is starting at the beginning of their entrepreneurial and business journey. How do you go from, like, no relationships, not knowing anyone, to having a very effective, organic, giving, reciprocal network?
Well, it has to be, it has to be suited for both, mm-hmm. Right? It has to be suited for them, and I have to be suited for them, and they have to be suited for me. Yeah. Okay. One of the main things is, if you're not coachable, like, we're not going to get to the third date. Okay. Like, it's like a dating game. Yeah. We get to know each other. We get to see if we like each other, the way we communicate, but when you're not coachable, it's very hard for someone to be able to consult you and help you get from point A to point C. Yeah. Okay. Because I want if I'm more committed to you, if I'm more committed than you are, that ain't gonna work. Okay. And I've had great. I've also had not so great relationships. Mm. It's happened.
Yeah, no, right? it's gonna happen. You can't always have a perfect record, right? And I think it's through those failures and the people who we think are good and good for us and good for our life and good for our business that turn out to be those rotten fruit that we got to make sure that we get rid of them quick.
So what's helped me through these experiences? Okay, I know the kind of core person that I want to work with. Mm-hmm. Right? I know I can tell within 5 minutes if I really want to work with you. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to inspire you. I hope in those 5-10 minutes I give you something, and that you walk away and that you're inspired. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't fit. Mm-hmm. Like, our dating just ended.
Right. And it's
okay.
It's knowing what you're committed to. Like, I think about the eulogy, right? At the end of my life, how do I want people to remember me? And Yesenia, for you, at the end of your life, you're going to be remembered as I gave value, I inspired people, I uplifted them, I reminded them how amazing they are, even if I was only with them for 5 or 10 minutes, and wished them well, left them uplifted after our interaction. And so it's like, what do you want to be remembered by? For me, it's like awakening. I want people to feel awakened, enlivened because of their time with me. More power, more joy, more growth, right? Like just expansive in themselves. And that's how I'm committed to every conversation going as often as possible.
Yeah, you did a great job too.
Thank you. Yes. I love it. High five. So good. So I want to dive into the final takeaways, what you really want our audience to get from this interview, because we've covered a lot of really great stuff. If there's something else that is really important to you that we haven't covered yet, let's cover that. Or if there's something that we touched on, but you really want to go deeper into that, we can do that too. Or just a recap, whatever you really want our audience to get.
Okay. Guys, it's really simple. For me, if we really think about it, it really is very simple. When you take your vision, okay, and then you make some type of plan. It doesn't have to be all like you have to go all out. I think a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the SMART process and all that, and that's great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, from your vision to your plan to taking action steps on a daily basis, consistent basis, consistent growth. Okay. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you're building a business, whether you're at a certain level of your business and you want to scale it. Okay. And then, really from that alone, what you get is boom, like results, like that's what you end up getting. Now, when let's say you're working on marketing and this marketing campaign didn't work out, well, guess what? That's how you know that you're not going to spend more money on it. It's okay. Just track it and switch and just, switch your shift. And that's it. Look at it with a different lens. Instead of, I'm like, man, I spent, I don't know, $10,000 on that and that just went down the drain and blah, blah, blah. And you're all negative. Switch that lens and say, you know what? We're putting this $10,000 somewhere else. It's our loss. Got it. It didn't work out. Let's go. Right. I think that's where I am now, where when things go south or, maybe a project of mine goes south and I'm like, okay, what do we have? What do we need to do? Okay, we're done. Bye. And it makes life just much easier.
Yeah.
And because what helps is, I guess just don't let it bring you down. Be grateful even for the hurdles.
Can't stop, won't stop.
So, some books that I think that have been influential to me, and I think would be influential to anybody out there. If you're struggling out there, if you're struggling, lost, whatever, go get the book by Tony Robbins. It's called The Power Within. It's an amazing book. Hopefully it can really, like Chris said, awaken you. Okay. Or maybe it just helps you look at life with a little different shift or different lens. Okay. The other one is if you're an entrepreneur out there and you are in leadership or whatever, or leading teams or whatnot, this is a really good one. Okay. Coach Wooden's Leadership Game Plan for Success. It's an awesome book. It has 12 lessons of extraordinary performance and personal excellence. Okay. We have to learn to communicate well and be kind to one another and really learn what your people out there, whether they're your employee or not, whether they're a 1099er or an W2er. It's important that you get to know them. And then this one, Multiplier, awesome book. Multipliers, like, learning. You either have two leaders out there. Those that, man, when you're dreaming big, they shut you down, okay, and they suck. Or the leader that says, you know what, they're multiplying themselves.
Yeah,
setting you up for success. Out there, and you're doing, and you, by 10 years later, 5 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, he was the best leader, or she was the best leader in my life. And now, like, oh, I'm practicing what she taught me, right? Yeah. So that book is amazing. And then I guess the last thing is, I believe in coaching. I believe that we all need coaches. I have my own coach that helps me, and I don't know if you do, Chris, but if anybody needs any type of consulting, I'll give 15-minute call on anything that you have. Doesn't matter how big or how small. And thank you so much. And I hope that I get to connect and inspire other people out there. If, DM me, whatever you want, just reach out and touch somebody.
Amazing. Yesenia, you're incredible. What are the links? How can they find you on social media, website, schedule the call, email? Tell us those real quick.
Oh gosh, you can let's say you can Yesenia Vasquez-Rosa on Facebook.
Okay.
My LinkedIn. My Borinque. It's hard to say. I have to start out. Borinqueña 808 on Instagram.
Okay.
You can email me at Yesenia@bluecoastalhomes.com. If you guys have any questions about real estate, how to start in it, how to, new construction. I have a new construction show on Coachable TV. If you want to learn about new construction, you can catch us there. It's on YouTube also and Facebook Lives. Just let's see what else. You can reach me at 808-748-9599. I can't believe I just did that.
You are amazing. You're so generous, and your heart just shines through in everything you do. It's awesome, and we're absolutely blessed to be here with you today, Yesenia. And thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for who you are, and everyone who's listening or watching. Stay connected with this powerhouse. Big things now and coming from the future with you. And I'm super inspired by you and excited to see your growth. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, you too, Chris. You're amazing, and we'll talk soon. Vision, action equals what?
Results, yo.
Woo.
Woo. Awesome. Have a great day.